Qualtrics. We have over 13,000 customers across the globe. And what do? We bring together experience gaps. So Qualtrics is an experience management company. Experience management brings together the product, brand, customer, and employee experiences into one platform for our customers to close those experience gaps. We come from small beginnings. We were originally in Ryan Smith and Jared Smith's basement for a while in 2001 through 4. We now have over 4,000 employees. Initially, we just sold to 100 colleges and universities by 2006. So that's pretty interesting. We have over 20 locations worldwide. The world's most successful companies use experience management to drive action. So what does that mean? We drive customer loyalty and lifetime value while reducing cost to serve. We launch and sustain new products, enter new markets. We attract, retain, and grow talent for sustained performance. And we build and optimize brands and create immersive experiences. Experience management is the discipline of combining X and O, experience, and operational data to manage the 4 core experiences: customer, product, employee, and brand. We leverage our widgets, our XM tools, XMD, XMIQ, I'm sorry, stuttering today, and XM Flow as our various widgets that we use to accomplish these goals. So what we do, our company culture and our values are transparent, all in, customer obsessed, one team, and scrappy. Those are our tacos values. Qualtrics is also dedicated to be a force for good. Ryan Smith said DEI is a cornerstone of our company culture with strong views on diversity, inclusion, immigration, wage equality, and universality of human rights. Without regard to race, color, creed, gender, or sexual orientation, we will not be quiet, but we will amplify these views on behalf of our employees and organization. We are taking action to improve DEI through our people, processes, and technology. At Qualtrics, we have 5 Q groups. Our Q groups bring together the unique perspective of every employee at Qualtrics to make us better. We support and empower various employee resource groups. These are our Q groups to connect and share their common interests and concerns. These employee-driven teams join together based on shared characteristics, ideals, affinities, and/or life experiences. And these groups are open to all Qualtrics employees. The groups are Mosaic. That's who I'm representative of. Mosaic is a group to advance the inclusion agenda for racial and ethnic minorities at Qualtrics. Q-Enable is a group to advance the inclusion and special needs agenda for those who are differently abled. Q-Pride is a group to advance the inclusion agenda for those who identify as LGBTQ+. WLD, Women's Leadership and Development, is a group to empower all women at Qualtrics. And then there's Q-Salute. Q-Salute is a group to advance the inclusion agenda for military veterans. And that is Qualtrics. I went through that much faster than I thought I would, but I did. I'm ready for questions.
You were so fast. I wasn't ready.
Sorry.
That was a good presentation, though. We love to see all the cool things about Qualtrics. If you have any questions, go ahead and put them in the chat. I'm going to kick it off. Can you talk about the workplace culture at Qualtrics? You talked about the values, the tacos. Can you just tell us about your experience with the workplace culture at Qualtrics?
And you want me to take it, Chloe?
Yeah, I'll let you go first.
Okay. So tacos, super important. Transparency, all in, customer obsessed, one team, and scrappy. I feel like we live by those values every day. Transparency is a big part of just who we are as a community. All in and one team, to me, go hand in hand. We go all in on all of our employees and what's important to them and their personal values. Customer obsessed. I feel like customer obsessed also falls into that because sometimes our customers are our employees. All things point back to having a great community and culture, and we move every move we make is in that effort. Chloe?
Yeah. I did not know what to look for as a student when I was graduating in company culture. It wasn't even on my radar. I just wanted a job. I wanted to move home. I wanted someone to pay me to do something that I could enjoy doing for a bit. And I was blown away at Qualtrics. I have been pushed to be better on a regular basis. But also I learned so much from the people who are willing to lean in outside of their jobs. Becky leaned in here today to give this presentation to help out recruiting and to be a part of this event. And I learn a lot from Becky as she gives this presentation, and as I work with her on a regular basis for mosaic recruiting needs. I learn from engineers who help me learn about their role as a non-technical educated person to help recruit for engineering university students. And they're all willing to educate, willing to help lean in on a regular basis. And I become better for it on a regular basis. And so I am thankful for the culture that has been built and continues to solidify itself at Qualtrics. It not only helps me be better in my role, but helps me just be a better person on a regular basis. The tacos culture that Becky chatted about, when I apply those things at work, they often spill over into all the other things I do, and really help me grow in lots of ways.
Yeah, I think also those things like really contribute to you coming to work as your authentic self.
Mm-hmm.
As a woman of color, me coming to work as myself is like a very scary idea. Usually it's just like, don't talk about things, don't talk about my concerns of being a woman in Utah and whether or not I can get my hair done, or where do I buy products that are made for me, because Qualtrics moved me out to Utah. I'm not used to this environment, but having an employer that supports me, and like me coming to work crying and saying, I have nowhere to get my hair done, I can't figure anything out, I can't find my community, and my employer to just like envelop me in support. And like someone at work literally called hair salons all day to find a place for me to go. Like, we are all in on our employees. We are all in and we are one team. Like, I've never felt as supported emotionally, physically, financially, all of the things that encompass a person as I have at Qualtrics. And because of that, I'm able to kind of realize and actualize who I am on a daily basis.
Awesome. We love to hear that. That is so cool. Do you want to talk about what kind of positions that Qualtrics is recruiting for right now? We have some entry-level folks and some people that have maybe a little bit more experience in the chat. And we've got people from technical backgrounds and recruiting and all sorts of different things. So whatever you've got, let's hear about it.
Yeah, for sure. I am not going to speak too deeply on many of the roles. I am a university recruiter. I work in university and recruiting. That is my world on a regular basis. But we are growing quickly. We have lots of roles open on our careers page. We tried to dump as many as possible into the Fairstream platform. And specifically focusing in the spaces that people are in now, in the places that especially the YearUp community is in, as far as like early career and kind of mid-career. So you'll find a lot of those on our Qualtrics page on Fairstream, but also in our careers page. You should be able to filter by organization, by location, by whether you want to work remote or work in the office. However, if you are not seeing a role you're interested in, or that you don't feel like is a fit for you right now, but you want to keep your eye on Qualtrics, at the bottom of almost every career related page on our website, we have a talent community link. You can find that talent community link and you can sign up, submit your resume. Recruiters will keep an eye on your profile, and you will get regular monthly updates on the roles that are opening at Qualtrics, updates on our culture, updates on product, things that we're doing, so that you can keep your eye on that as well.
Awesome. That is so cool. We have a question from Damien in the chat. He saw that there is a sales intern program with Qualtrics. Is that a required way to get into entry-level sales with Qualtrics, or can you tell us about your internship programs?
Yeah. Our internship programs are not a requirement for getting into entry-level roles. The only roles that are somewhat limited in entry level are kind of our like product management and project management. We don't typically hire new graduate product management or project management roles. However, we have a product specialist role. There's a really great rotational program for new grads to get into spaces like that. For sales, we do have a really cool summer sales internship opportunity. Is not required for entry level. If you're looking at graduation next year and you've missed this year's internship opportunity, you'll be able to apply for entry level sales positions. And many of our US locations have those.
Awesome. That is way cool. And like Chloe mentioned, you can see Qualtrics posted a ton of jobs to Fairstream, which we super appreciate, which you can see by clicking the apply button below the video. But obviously visit Qualtrics website and go through their careers page there as well, because there are all sorts of different opportunities with Qualtrics. If you're looking for something specific, if you're asking about a certain job in the chat, definitely look on those pages so you can learn more about open opportunities with them. Do you want to tell me about the work-life balance with Qualtrics and why is Qualtrics your number one place to work? What makes you just love it so much?
Yeah, Becky, do you want to chat about your work-life balance and what makes you love it? And I'll follow up with mine.
Sure. Work-life balance is a big deal here at Qualtrics. Everyone being able to, part of having a good work-life balance is integral to employee being happy. So we really take that seriously. We take an account for family life, home life, whatever you have going on is a part of your overall workload. And I feel like my family is just an extended part of my work family, if that makes sense, with the way that my boss gets on the phone with me and says, "How are your kids?" Like, and he knows them by name. He knows their birthday. One of my employees, his daughter received a gift from me on her birthday, just because that's like how close we are. However, I never feel like it's work. It's work, and work is just a part of your life, and life is just a part of work here, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. Before the pandemic, we didn't have an official work from home policy. We had some remote employees, but we generally valued for most teams working in the office. But everyone has a laptop that's mobile. And it was very normal for people who needed to be home because their spouse needed a ride to a doctor's appointment, or because their kids were home from school that day and they, needed a parent home because they, didn't have a daycare option, or didn't want to use a daycare option. People work from home for momentary times for different reasons before all of this happened. And I've watched our company evolve in a pretty cool way too, to value even more that work-life balance, knowing that people are working in their homes. Kids are running around, dogs are running around, people are always around when I'm working, when my coworkers are working, and we have embraced that and learned to support each other as we are figuring out what spaces we're in. And so I've been encouraged by that. I'm excited to know that if I'm still at Qualtrics when I'm starting a family, I can feel comfortable here and know that my job is going to be just as safe and just as exciting and nourishing to me, no matter what happens and what shifts in my life outside of it.
Awesome. That is way cool to hear about. What kind of tactics, this is more of a recruiting question, but Becky, if you have thoughts on it, what kind of tactics have you seen work really well for people who are applying for jobs to help them stand out? What do you think doesn't work as well? Things like that.
Yeah, that's a great question. That is the golden question at things like this. I have noticed that the cold email of a recruiter from a company saying, "Hi, I'm interested in positions. What positions fit me?" aren't always the best. Like I said, I work in university recruiting, specifically in engineering. I don't always know a whole lot about senior sales positions and marketing positions. I wouldn't even know how to recruit for the position that Becky is in. However, when you reach out to a recruiter and say, "Hi, these are my skills. I'm interested in this role. Can you help me get connected with the person who knows the most about it to help answer my questions? I think that 9 times out of 10, you're going to find that that person is happy to either answer your questions that are specific to the role you're interested in, or to help you find the person who can. There's specific action items that you come to people with, rather than just open-ended, can you find a role that fits me? When you do a little bit of the research yourself to find the roles you're interested in, the things you want to learn more about, if you don't fully know if you fit that role quite yet, is great way to reach out with more action. And then attending things like this, continuing to attend events of the companies you're interested for. The virtual space has really changed the way that a lot of companies are recruiting. At Qualtrics, we host a lot of virtual events on a regular basis for people to learn about our product, to learn about our roles. We host recruiting events. We join things like this to get to know people. And so continuing just to put yourself out there, to dedicate a little bit of time to hop on where the recruiters are, where the hiring managers are, is going to help you kind of get in front of people.
Perfect. Rogelio asked, I see that most of the jobs I'm interested in have qualifications with a bachelor's degree. Do you accept individuals that don't have a degree, but they have the experience or the skills, or maybe they're coming from a non-traditional background, they're coming from a break in the workforce, or they're coming from a coding school or something that's a little bit different than a degree? Do you still accept candidates like that?
Yeah, so most of our roles require a 4-year bachelor's degree, or a bachelor's degree of some kind. We are actively working on a regular basis to find the best way to open our roles to those with maybe a different type of non-traditional background or education. Currently, we just piloted our first web development internship to those in engineering and coding schools. And so that does not require that people have a computer science degree. Rather, we're looking for those who have training from a coding school. And then we're actively, figuring out what that looks like in our other spaces. So right now, you won't find that many roles that don't require a bachelor's degree. Some of our part-time roles are designed for those who are in school right now, and who can work part-time while they're in school. But those are for those who are actively working on a degree at this time.
Awesome. Good to hear. A fun, easy question. What kind of fun perks does Qualtrics have, whether that be while you're working from home or once you're back in the office? What kind of fun stuff does Qualtrics do?
What kind of fun stuff doesn't they do, or don't they do? So in the office, I work in the Provo office, Provo, Utah. We have a cereal bar. We have snacks all over the place on every floor. There are scooters that people ride around through the office. There are skateboards, there's longboards all throughout the office. In the back, we have a field that has a reflecting pool with lounge chairs. There's a literal waterfall in the back. Dogs everywhere. Food, free food Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. Food trucks on Tuesdays. There's always stuff being catered in, brought in, cookies, snacks, any sort of anything you can imagine is there. If you like food, you'd like Qualtrics.
Yeah.
Now that we're home, they send us stuff all of the time. We're always getting different kinds of merch, clothes, hats. I will show you my very favorite swag item, which was a Apple Watch, and it says on here, improve and design, which were our X4 this was for when we IPO'd this year. So that was super cool. We are constantly being given the coolest swag I've ever experienced. I'm wearing a Qualtrics shirt right now. Endless opportunities with the stuff we are given.
Yeah, Qualtrics also partners with some really great organizations to offer experiences to employees. Qualtrics is a sponsor of the Utah Jazz, and so Utah employees regularly get tickets to Utah Jazz games. They also partner with, I believe is it Love Fest? The
Love Loud.
Love Loud, yeah. For the concert each summer and sponsor so employees can attend that at a discount rate. And they're, especially Provo is cool because the campus is big. Their summer parties are the best. In Seattle, we have a bar with local microbrews and kombucha and coffee. And each office is really meant to highlight the culture of the area. So in Seattle, you're going to find coffee everywhere, food everywhere, like Becky said. We offer an experience bonus to every single full-time employee at Qualtrics on an annual basis. After your first year at Qualtrics, you qualify for an experience bonus just meant to help you take advantage of an experience that you might not otherwise. And yeah, there are really fun perks on a regular basis. I'm constantly surprised. The Apple Watch was awesome. The swag's cool. The food is great. You'll hear food all the time, especially when our values are an acronym of tacos. You know where our mind is at.
I think another thing that we did mention that's a perk is Qualtrics Foundation 5 for the Fight, which is a cancer research foundation. And we've done many great things. And me and everyone on my team have run our 5K for the Fight, which is one of our opportunities kind of donate to the foundation. That is probably one of my most favorite. It's not a perk, but it's ingrained in the company culture.
That is really cool. We have lots of people that are just loving all of these perks in the chat right now.
A great way, sorry to interrupt you, Alicia, but a great way to learn more about these perks or to hear how other employees have experienced these things is to go to our Y Qualtrics blog. If you just type in Y Qualtrics, you're going to find our blog on our webpage. And employees regularly write blogs about how they experience our company culture, things that they experience at the company. And you can learn more about how people use their experience bonus, how they experience 5 for the Fight, our Q groups like Mosaic, and things like that are all on that blog.
Very cool. Do you want to tell me a little bit about how both of you ended up at Qualtrics and what your interview process was like and what applicants can expect there?
Yeah, Becky, you want to chat a bit about your interview experience and how you came to Qualtrics?
Sure. So I'm originally from St. Louis, Missouri. I went to Washington University in St. Louis. I'm a proposal manager. Well, I'm a proposal writer team lead here at Qualtrics. My previous company, I was a proposal manager team lead. And I was one of the lucky few that was recruited from Missouri. And the interview process was, I would say everyone who is an employee at Qualtrics will say the interview process was hard, but totally worth it. I enjoyed every minute of it. There was just a lot to do, a lot of interviews, but man, was it a cool experience to get to. One of my interviewers was who's now the president of the company. How cool is that? Like, how often do you get to say something like that? That's what we're talking about, the interview process. Am I?
Yeah.
Sorry. So we had multiple interviews over the phone and then interviews video, and then pre-COVID I had an interview in person. So they flew me out to Provo from St. Louis. So it was pretty cool. It was overall a good experience, just kind of long.
Mm-hmm. How did you, before I tell mine, how did you know who Qualtrics was, or how did you even learn about it and apply? What drew you to it?
So I didn't know anything until my recruiter found me, and then I Googled it, and we at the time were just being acquired by SAP, and all the news was positive things. Like, this is the startup to be involved with. And at the time we were still, being called a startup, and now we wouldn't even really call ourselves that. We're definitely not anymore. You can't Google Qualtrics without getting excited. So, at first this recruiter calls and I'm kind of skeptical. And then I looked them up and I had to have it. Wow, so cool.
So awesome. I also didn't know a whole lot about Qualtrics before I got connected. I was doing my master's at Wake Forest in North Carolina. I'm from the Seattle area. And so my goal was to get a job and move home. I wanted to be near my family. And I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was pivoting a little bit from some career goals that I had before. And so I started to look at things like, I had a communication degree, so I started looking at communication roles. Recruiting kept popping up a little bit. It seemed interesting because I like people. I'm a social person. And so I just dropped my resume one day on LinkedIn for a recruiting role at Qualtrics and got a call the next day. And like Becky, I had a really long interview process, lots of interviews, but the people I interviewed with were a blast. They treated me like they were just chatting with a friend, really wanted to get to know me, know my skills. My camera didn't work when I was interviewing. My audio kept, glitching in and out. And so I had my recruiters calling me instead, and they were so graceful and so wonderful. And still, I had a blast chatting with them. And so just from that interaction, I knew I had to work with them. I just wanted to work with those people. And when I started, my onboarding process introduced me to so many cool and interesting and fun people that I went home every day, probably my first 30 days, being like, oh my gosh, I think I work at like the most fun place ever. And how does no one know what this place is? So that it was a really exciting opportunity to, jump into something I didn't know that well and to be welcomed into such a cool community. And it's just grown ever since. Like Becky said, we don't see ourselves as a startup anymore, but we still have that real community feel.
That is way cool. I love that. Super fast question. Where does Qualtrics have offices?
Yeah, Qualtrics has offices all over the globe at this point. For most roles, we hire for those who are authorized to work in those areas. We have our headquarters in Provo, Utah, and then kind of our co-headquarters where a lot of our engineering roles are in Seattle. We have roles in Dallas, Raleigh, New York, Chicago, a few in San Francisco, just to name our US locations. I think Dallas and possibly Austin sometimes, or we've got some remote work there. So yeah, we are all over the US and all over the globe at this point.
Very cool. Lots of options of where you can work for Qualtrics. Very, very cool. Let's see if we have any last questions in the questions in the chat. I've been going at this all day. I think we are good to wrap it up. So thank you so much to Chloe and Becky for being here with Qualtrics and answering all these cool questions and telling us what an awesome company Qualtrics is. As mentioned previously, you can see all of the jobs Qualtrics posted on Fairstream below if you hit the apply button. If you click the network button, you'll see employees from Qualtrics that are on Fairstream if you'd like to message them like Chloe. So you can reach out to them or reach out through LinkedIn as well. If you see a job and you're really into it and you want to learn more about it, that is a great way to do it. Yeah, so thank you again for being here. We really appreciate it. And we will be back in about 10 minutes for our next info session. So thank you to Qualtrics.
Thanks for coming on.
Awesome. Thanks.